First of all, I'd like to thank you all for coming a little early. It's an early game, early press conference, but I really do appreciate it. This is a special day for myself, for my family, my former coaches and teammates. A lot was sacrificed during my time here as a basketball player, and today is just a celebration of that. So you'll see a lot of familiar faces from the past, and although it's my name and number going up in the rafters, there's a lot of people who I have to give credit to for making that day possible. So with that, thank you, and I'll open it up for questions.
We have microphones on each side. If you can flag one down if you have a question. Jeff, over here on the left.
Michael, you mentioned that a lot of people contributed to make this day possible. When did you think this day might be possible?
A long time ago. A lot has happened. When I left here in '95, I didn't expect my number to be retired. It wasn't something that I came to the university as a goal. My main focus was to win as many basketball games as I could, put the Wisconsin basketball program on the map, and whatever happened after that happened. But when you look around and you see some of your friends who were less successful at their alma maters and they're getting recognized, it was kind of upsetting. But at the same time, I'm not a guy who sometimes I like to celebrate my successes behind the closed doors. I don't really like to boast and brag. But if I could have had it years ago, that would have been great.
Steve, over here on the right.
Steve McGargy, Associated Press. Wisconsin's pretty much an annual NCAA tournament participant now. When you got there, it was the first time in almost half a century. Just how much pride do you kind of take in kind of starting that tradition of where Wisconsin is at this point?
Well, it's something that I'm very proud of. I mentioned it to someone before. When you go to college, no matter where you go, you expect to make it to the tournament each and every year. But that's not reality. But for us to make it that year, and then for the program to trend in a positive direction from that day forward, it makes me proud. It makes me proud to look back at the basketball program in the university and see the successes that they had, knowing that I was a part of one of the original teams to break that barrier of getting back into the tournament and making it a consistent thing, and like you said, an annual thing. So it gives me great pride to know that me and my teammates was part of that groundbreaking experience.
Pablo, in back.
Michael Andrew Wagner, Forbes Sports. A lot of people of current fans don't understand just where the program was when you got here. So just curious, what made Wisconsin the place for you, and do you kind of chuckle thinking of just where that program is at compared to where it was when you left and where it is now?
Yeah, I mean, I was a fan of the Big Ten. Growing up in Chicago, watching Illinois teams back then, so I was a fan of the Big Ten. So I always wanted to play in the Big Ten, but only two schools were recruiting me, Northwestern and Wisconsin. And once I took my visit here, I just fell in love with the coaching staff, the players. They made me feel at home. And when I got back to Chicago after my visit, I talked to my mom. I was like, I think I found my university. And she was like, you sure? You don't want to you have 2 other visits planned? I was like, no, there's something about this that feels right. And I think I made a great decision, not only for my basketball career, but for me as a man. I met some very positive people who are still currently in my life. That's been a constant in my life. So, and I met all those people here at Wisconsin. And to see where the program has come from, I mean, just walking in this arena, I played in the field house. I played in a condominium, this is a mansion. But the field house was always intimate, very cozy. but the fans have always been supportive, whether it was the field house or here at the Kohl Center. So that's a great feeling as well.
Oh, Mac?
Mike, earlier this week, Rick Gard kind of said that you are, especially knowing how big of a two-way player you are, or you were, during Wisconsin, that you were the epitome of what Wisconsin basketball has been known for and is known for. To hear those words, especially on a day like today, how humbling is that?
Oh, it was very humbling. It was very humbling. When I played, I always wanted to represent the university in a positive way. You know, although a lot of people I scored a lot of points, but I just wanted to play the right way. I wanted to do whatever it took, you know, to win those ball games, whether it was on the defensive end or on the offensive end, just to give my team and my teammates the best chance to win. So for Gard to say those, Coach Gard to say those words, it's very humbling, and I hope the kids that can look back at some of my old films saw a guy who truly played with passion, and a guy who truly did whatever it took to win the ball games. And that's the Wisconsin basketball tradition that since I've left, watching these guys, they've kept that going. So it's a good thing to see and to hear.
Tom, over the right?
Michael, Tom Oates.
Yes.
How you doing?
Good. How you doing?
Was there a moment, a game, a stretch at some point early in your career where you figured out you could become the player that you eventually became?
I guess ironically, it was against Michigan. My freshman year, I always had the utmost confidence in my game. I think my confidence was a lot more than my game was at that point. But that Michigan game, not only for me, but I think for the team, when we played on my freshman year, you know, they were getting all the press as being one of the top teams in the country. They had, at the time, 5 potential NBA players. And I took that as a chance to prove to myself and to the Big Ten that not only was I a player to be reckoned with, but the Wisconsin team as well. And we played one of our better games against them. I had one of my better games, and from there, my confidence was at an all-time high. I was thinking that this is one of the best teams in the country, and I'm able to do this. Maybe if I keep it up, I can continue to do this throughout my career. So that was a special moment for me. I think it was a special moment for my teammates, for the university, and at that point, it kind of projected us to how it feels to be successful, and we just took it from there.
Abby Schnabel, Wisconsin State Journal. Knowing where the program has come from and knowing what it takes to be successful in the Big Ten at Wisconsin, what do you make of this season's team and their chances in the postseason?
Well, this team is doing all the right things. Just watching them from afar, they're playing the right way. They're playing hard, and what I like most about them, they're not afraid of the moment. Whether it's a big game on national TV or a game against an unranked team, they are taking care of their business. And they're playing hard. The coach has the team playing hard on both ends of the court, which gives us a chance each and every night. So it's a proud thing for me to watch from afar. Gives me bragging rights to some of my colleagues from other schools that this year we have a team to be reckoned with, and I'm very proud of what the guys are doing.
Jeff.
Jeff Patricus from the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, kind of on this year's team as well. No one has scored 20 points in a season, average 20 points in a season since you. Johnny Davis is in a position to do that. Not that he cares about that, but I'm just curious, when you watch him play, I don't know how many times you've seen him, what stands out about what he's done this year?
Unfortunately, I work for the Mavericks in the NBA, so I can't comment on players personally. So, but I'll just say the team is really good to watch. The team, the team is one to be reckoned with. I think if the team continues to put in the hard work, that this team can be pretty good.
Any other questions for Michael? Right here.
Did Tracy help recruit you? And what, what was it like playing with him those first couple of years?
Oh man, it's he's one of the reasons why I'm here today. One of the reasons why I came to Wisconsin. And to play with a guy like that. If you look at my career, from high school all the way through the NBA, I always had a good point guard. And here at Wisconsin, if you look at some of my highlights, most of them, Tracy's passing me the ball. So he was a great teammate, an even better friend, and he was like a big brother. I think we lived together for 3 years. So sometimes you get away from basketball, you go home, you don't want to see your teammates. But I didn't mind living and being with him. He's been a very, very positive light in my life. And my successes here at Wisconsin, I have to give him a lot of credit because if it wasn't for him, I don't know if we would be celebrating me here today.
Andrew, back.
Michael, not to again go back in the past, but when Stu took over, were you thinking at all about maybe looking elsewhere, or were you planning on staying the whole time? And just what did it do when Stu came in and took things over?
Yeah, you have to think, I was a young kid, 18, 19 years old. A lot of mixed emotions when Coach Yoder was let go because he was the one who recruited me, along with him and Coach Ray McCallum. That whole staff had recruited me. So, when that change comes, you don't know what to expect. So I didn't know, but I knew one thing, that I really loved being here at Wisconsin. And I was hoping that they would bring in a coach that would make it, if I decide to stay, make it worthwhile. And with Coach Jackson coming in, it was perfect. It was a perfect timing for me as a basketball player, perfect timing for me as a man. Because even though when he came in, I wasn't really thinking about going to the NBA. Unlike some of these kids nowadays, that was one of the last things on my mind. I just wanted to be the best college basketball player that I can be. And when Coach Jackson came in, he helped me achieve that goal. He pushed me. Nothing was easy with him, but he pushed me along with him and his staff. And after him, Coach Stan Van Gundy as well. Those guys pushed me, and they made me a better basketball player and a better man. So I'm glad I stayed.
We've got time for maybe one more. Jake?
Jake Okorowski, BadgerBlitz.com. Michael, being away from Madison, as a player, but what you've done on and off the court since, how often are you able to watch Wisconsin basketball throughout the years, and how have you seen it evolve?
Yeah, well, like I mentioned earlier, it's my job to watch college basketball now, so it gives me a good excuse to watch even more Wisconsin basketball. But it's come a long way. I think from when I was here playing at the Fieldhouse, like I mentioned, to now, the team has trended in the right direction. It hasn't always been, the great, but we've made it some national Final Four appearances. We've had some great players come through here. After me, Devin Harris, Frank Kaminsky, those guys have, have continued to keep the team on the map, and get us that respect that's well deserved, and that's by playing hard and playing the right way. One thing about representing the university, I always wanted to represent them the right way, and that's on and off the court. Whether I was playing an NBA game or I was in a business meeting with someone, I always wanted to represent the university in the right way. And I think the guys that have come through here after me is doing the same thing. So it's proud to see those guys, their successes on the court, their successes off the court. It just makes me proud to call myself a Badger.